Well, thanks a lot for coming on the show today, Josh.
Yeah.
I appreciate you giving me some of your time.
Thanks for having me.
So what piqued my interest in talking with you really is that I saw the Wrekfest is happening again this year, and it's expanded into 2 days. I'm from Sussex, so
Okay.
I thought I'd be a little selfish, and maybe I'll talk about that first since it's kind of affecting my hometown, if that's cool.
Yeah, for sure.
Sweet. So this year, 2 days. So what kind of where did Wrekfest come from? Maybe we could start with that.
So my father is a member of the Sussex Lions Club.
Okay.
So our band started, we've been doing shows for about a year and a half now. Been a band for about 2.5 years. We did some shows. My dad came to our show and he's like, I'm trying to figure out a way to raise money for the Lions Club last year. He's like, you should do a show at our place.
Okay.
I was like, cool, I'll do it. I'll just get my friends who are in bands that we've played with over the last year, and we will put on a show. And that's what we did. And it was great. It had a good turnout. And Lorraine, who I think is like the president or something of the Lions Club, she was like, let's do it again next year.
Okay.
And I said, okay, but I want to do 2 days because I've got more friends in bands now and I want all my friends to play. So basically, Wrekfest started for my father, but then for me, it's just a show that I can play with all my friends.
Okay. That's very cool. It's funny because I can almost relate, because when I was getting in high school, when I was playing music, I just started playing like music. It was my father who came to me and be like, I'll rent you a hall and we could do a show. And I was like, you want me to rent a hall and do a show?
That's awesome. So and like my dad's not a metal guy at all.
Yeah.
Or punk. He's like super country.
Okay.
A little bit of classic rock. But he was like, we got to do this. And he loved it. The Lions Club did well last year. So this year they're donating the whole space to us.
Nice.
And
very cool.
It's going to be great. Bigger and better.
Is that the main route? Is that your main connection to Sussex, or is your father's family like from the area?
No, my dad just lives there.
He lives there.
Fiance.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, and it's cool. And what also caught my eye was that it's an all ages show, because like me and some of my buddies, again, not to talk too much about myself, but in the past I grew up booking shows in Sussex, all ages shows, and it's always a constant struggle to find all ages shows and venues, of course, obviously. So was that a particular? Did you choose all ages on purpose? Was that meaningful decision? Yeah,
it was. It was meaningful because we all have kids. We're all older fellas in the band, and. I remember when I was a kid going to all ages shows and seeing these guys who were a little bit older doing their thing, and I always loved it. And I want that to be a thing for the kids growing up now, because it feels like it's changed in the last 15, 20 years. It's not like it used to be where there's always all ages shows all the time. Now there's not very many. There's a venue in Fredericton and a venue in Halifax now, but it doesn't happen for local bands like it should. And with Wrekfest, it being an all ages show, I make sure to book a couple bands that are still in high school or just out of high school, so that they can have their friends come to the shows and move from there. Yeah,
because you do kind of want to, you want to inspire the next generation, right? And you need to find a way to get connected to the high school crowd, basically, right? Like you have to...
Exactly. Yeah, because how are they going to go see bands, all these local bands, when it's always at a bar? So you do the all ages show every once in a while, then they can still get out there, get their foot in the door, and then maybe it'll inspire them to start playing music, and then they can be the next guys in 10 years doing the same thing for the guys coming up.
For sure. And I can kind of remember thinking when I was underage and discovering shows, it kind of made me realize that more happens at a bar than just drinking,
Yeah, exactly.
If you can think back, it's almost like, I didn't even know punk and metal bands. You can just show up and play in a bar. I didn't even know it was a thing back when I was 16 or 17,
Yeah, for sure.
Do you remember when you first started going to shows?
I do. It was actually, it's funny because our band is made up of 2 sets of brothers.
Okay, cool.
And then just a friend of mine. So it's 5 of us. But my brother, who's our lead singer, used to be in a punk band back in the day. The first live show I ever went to was in Riverview at this it was a Kinsman Center at the time, and now it's a skate park.
Okay.
Which we were fortunate to play there in May.
Okay.
But that was the first show I ever went to, was his band at the time when he was just out of high school.
Okay.
Playing this all ages show with some other bands from the high school that I went to.
Okay. Do you remember the name of his band by any chance?
Inertia.
Inertia. Okay.
Yeah. They
Okay.
used to play with bands like Hope and Adaptation. I don't know if you know any of those.
Oh yeah,
like,
Adaptation.
punk
Yeah.
bands.
So
Yeah,
they used to,
they-
they used to be called So You're Saying There's a Chance.
Something like that. Yeah.
Adaptation were awesome. I actually ended up working at a call center in Riverview with their drummer Chris way back. Yeah,
That's cool.
That's cool. So your brother's in Inertia. That's cool. That's a band that was on my radar back in the day, actually. So that's
Oh, really? Yeah, he was the lead singer and guitar player.
okay. That's really cool.
And now he just sings for us.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the two is everyone in the band kind of does everyone kind of come from that local band background?
I'd say yes, but no at the same time. Like, he was in the local band. I mean, the other guys, Rick and Shannon, the drummer and the rhythm guitar player, the brothers, said they've been playing together for 20 years.
Okay.
This is my first band.
Cool.
At the age of, I was 30 when we started this band. And it's just what I've wanted my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
It's just been what I've been aspiring to, and it just took a long time to get there. So now I'm here, and it's just balls deep.
That's awesome. And it's kind of a whole nother thing to not only be in the band, but be actively booking show, like being a show promoter as a band as well. That's kind of like two worlds colliding.
It is, and it can be tough, but I mean, like, again, with Wrekfest, I also like to label it as a festival for musicians by musicians.
Okay.
So, like, when we did it last year, I had really good feedback from all the bands. They're like, I like the way how the sound, everything was done. I was like, well, that's how I want it done for myself.
Okay.
If I go play somewhere, this is how I would want it as a musician. So I kind of take that thought process in, like, the behind the scenes stuff for the bands, make sure all the bands are taken care of and everything is good on their end before everything else.
Okay.
It's for us. If there's nobody there, we're still playing for ourselves. It's still for the musicians.
Okay. Yeah, so that's an interesting advantage. You're in the band, so because you have that perspective from behind or on the stage or behind the speakers, you can help you can make it more comfortable for the other bands playing as well.
Exactly. Like, we've played a couple festivals now, and it's like the sound guy or whatever, or the promoter is not necessarily a musician. They're just doing the thing. Whereas when you're a musician, you kind of have the different thought process, I guess, and it seems to work out. Yeah.
Very cool. So first you mentioned the venue's kind of donated by the Lions Club.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, so maybe we could just walk through the steps here for anyone listening who's wondering how you would do this. You get the venue, and then do you have your own sound equipment, or do you need to rent it?
Last year we rented. This year we have a sponsor for sound.
Okay.
And the guy's name is Brian.
Okay.
And he's in the band Fallen Ponds. He's from Fredericton, so he's going to do our sound. I think it's MSE Audio Video. It's the name of his company. So he's going to provide everything for us this year. But last year we just took from ticket sales and rented some gear and did it all ourselves. I didn't have a specific sound guy or anything. My drummer and I, Shannon, we did it.
Okay.
We stood at the board and mixed everything, make sure everything sounded good.
Did you have experience with that beforehand, or did you just kind of dive into the live sound?
Not since I started this band. We kind of we record all our rehearsals and stuff. So I have like Reaper and some software on my computer. So I started dabbling there. So then when it came time to doing this live sound, it was kind of almost the same.
Okay.
Thing in a way.
A
lot of YouTube videos helped.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, I was going to say, like, it's amazing what you can learn these days from YouTube. Like, you can really jump to the head of the line pretty quick.
Exactly.
Have you, the person you hired for sound, obviously the show hasn't happened yet. Have you been enjoying that kind of experience of, like, giving someone else the responsibility of doing that?
100%, because then it leaves my brain free to work on other things and stuff. So,
and is that someone who played last year?
No, it's not. So like I said, we expanded this year because we have more friends and I want to bring more bands in, because I wanted everybody who played last year to have the opportunity to play again this year. So what happened is the band Scorn from St. John, as Tyson mentioned Brian. He's like, I know a guy. Because I was just saying, like, if we can get sponsorships, then all the ticket sales can be split between the bands.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, well, I know a guy. So Brian reached out to me, and at the time, his band, there was no space left on the bill.
Okay.
All the slots were filled, but then someone had to drop out. So as soon as somebody dropped out, I gave him also the opportunity to play. So they're going to play on Saturday as well. He'll be there for the weekend to do the sound for us.
Oh, cool. So it kind of works out. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. And then, so you mentioned sponsorships. Is that like, so when I was doing shows, I never reached out and even thought about sponsorships. Is that like a pretty vital part of what you guys do?
Not usually. This is the first time I tried to get sponsorships in that way, just to help lower our overhead costs in advance. Because I find with local shows like this, it's hard to sell advance tickets.
Okay, a lot of door sales.
A lot more door sales. So if you have sponsorships, then you don't necessarily have to worry about taking money out of pocket to cover expenses and beforehand.
Okay.
There's always something there to cover. So we don't have to pay for the Lions Club this year. And MBS Radio out of the station out of St. John or out of Sussex is also working with us. So they're going to do some radio advertising for us as well. And that's not costing us anything because so they'll have like on the stage, their logo will be there as a sponsor of the event.
Okay. Yeah, that's very cool. I mean, radio, any kind of advertising like that is beneficial for the community, obviously. And of course the show. Okay. So it's nice to be able to have your overhead maybe covered before the show even happens, so you can expect to pay the bands a good chunk, right?
Exactly. Like last year, with the rental gear and the amount of money that came in, all the bands $100.
Okay.
And the Lions Club made $100 on top of whatever they sold in liquor sales and food, because they do open the canteen and they do open the bar for us. So as long as those two things are open, then kids and adults can be in there. And when kids come in, they get a stamp that they're not of age so that they can't get anything from the bar.
Okay, so it's a wet dry show.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Okay, that was like the holy grail back when I was playing shows. Like if you could line up wet dry shows.
Yeah, so you can bring your kids, they can hang out, and you can have a drink or two and enjoy yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very cool. Yeah, because I know when I was in the teens doing shows, but there'd always be a couple older folks around at the all ages event because we'd have like punk bands like Moncton and like cool bands. So they want to see the bands, but at the same time, you just know that like anyone older who's at an all ages only show is probably going to feel a little out of place or whatever. So
exactly.
Is that... The Lions Club gets to keep all the sales from the canteen. So that's a pretty good deal for them, really.
Exactly. And like last year, I think they did pretty well, and it was only one day. So if we can double up on it this year, I think it'll be really good.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah, that's why, because they did so well last year. They said, well, we'll just donate the space to you this year. Put us on the poster. Okay. Because they're going to take all the liquor sales. And I think we're going to do a 50-50 draw as well.
Cool. So last year you had to pay you had to rent the space?
No, we just gave them like a portion of the door fee as like a donation. So it ended up being $100. I just split the $1,000 that came in ticket sales after all the expenses. I just split it 10 ways because we had 9 bands and then the Lions Club. Okay.
Yeah, that's solid. But now, now they expect it to be, if they can double up on their canteen sales, it'll be beneficial for them.
A lot better.
So 2 days. Okay, cool. So how do you doing a 2 day festival? Like, what goes into planning the lineup?
I made a post. I made a post on Facebook looking for bands for our event, and I also reached out to the bands that I wanted personally to play. So and then I left some spaces open and made things work here and there, and it turned out good. We played with a few bands, and then I had bands reach out or bands suggested to me. I like our band that's opening Saturday afternoon, first set of the day, from Sussex. They're 2 high school boys, and it's their first show.
Sweet. Okay.
So it's going to be great.
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about, is bringing those guys who have either never been in front of a crowd or minimal crowds, and give them an opportunity to showcase what they got.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure they're probably bubbling up with anticipation if it's their first experience.
I wasn't aware until they made a post on their Instagram page a couple of weeks ago saying that it was their first show. And I was like, well, that's even better.
Yeah. That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's a great opportunity to provide younger acts. Cause again, not people, when younger folks don't have to wait to play a bar too, when you're waiting to play the bar scene as your first show.
Exactly.
It can feel quite different because the worlds are when you're in a bar, it's not always about the music. Whereas if you're playing a festival or an all ages show, usually the main attraction is the music.
Exactly. Yeah. There's a band that we played with at the skate park. They're from Riverview, and they had only done shows at the high school because there's no venues in town. So we did this show with them because it was at the skate park. It was an all ages show.
Okay.
That was their first show they played with us. And then right after that, but the only places they can play now is if they go to Fredericton or Halifax, because it's really the only two all ages venues that are constant are in those cities.
Okay. Yeah, and those are decent drives from well, it's not too bad. When you're young, it's a decent drive if you're a teenager. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, from Moncton to Fredericton is not too bad, but Moncton to Halifax still almost 3 hours. So.
Yeah. Okay. I think I know the name of the venue you're talking about. Is it the Rad something or
the Rad Storm?
The Rad Storm. Yeah.
Yeah. There's that one, and then there was, I don't know, in Fredericton now. It's a new venue that just started because some other venue is shutting down, so they started this other one. It's at a community hall type thing.
Okay.
I can't remember what it's called, but yeah, there's a new one.
Okay.
In Fredericton.
Yeah, venues are tough. I know there's one in St. John here. Haven Music Hall's relatively new venue.
Okay.
And for the first, they've been open I think maybe 18 months now or coming up on it, but they did focus mainly on just your typical 19 plus shows. But they are moving now into trying to promote a lot of all ages or wet dry shows. So anyone listening, that could be a venue to keep on your radar or reach out to them to see if they want to do that.
Yeah, for sure. That's
Have
nice.
Go ahead.
I would say we haven't played in St. John yet.
Yeah, that might be the place to go. Or Wasted Day is another great venue in town.
Okay.
They're a bar, so they're going to be exclusively 19 plus. But if you're looking to come to the city and check it out, either of those venues would be a good way to, because it's a pretty cool scene happening right now. There's quite a few bands popping up, and yeah.
Yeah, we've played with a few bands from St. John, just not in St. John.
Not in St. John, yeah. And I see Willful Disobedience is playing.
Yes.
The Vest.
The opening band, Turtlehead, is the sons of one of the guys from Willful Disobedience.
No way. That's cool. Is that the singer perchance, Travis?
I think so.
Yeah.
I might be. I'm not 100%
awesome.
sure. I haven't talked to them too much.
Okay.
They're one of those bit groups are ones that were recommended to us. They never played at the festival.
Okay. Oh yeah, they're awesome. They're really solid punk rock, and they used to have a different singer, but Travis, I believe, is the singer now, and he played in a bunch of Sussex bands. Of course, they've all evaporated from my mind in this very moment, but yeah, solid. That's funny that he'll get to pass the torch. Whoever it is in the band that has the kids, they get pass the torch to their own family. So okay, so then how do you decide on the actual lineup? So the kids opening, especially since it's their first show, that's a pretty solid place to be opening. Do you just
like the schedule?
Yeah.
I don't know exactly how I figured out the schedule. My main thing is there's some bands coming from Halifax and stuff.
Okay.
So I gave them the opportunity to play later in the day on Saturday so that they could get there or whatever. Friday is mostly bands, more local-ish bands, except for our headlining act is coming in from Montreal.
Oh, cool.
They came and played last year as our co-headlining act.
Okay.
And they wanted to come back this year. Their singer mentioned to me that he'd think it'd be cool to do a touring Wrekfest.
Oh yeah,
kind of like a not fest type thing. But I don't have the time for that.
Yeah, it's a big commitment. Yeah,
that is a big commitment. And the festival that we just played in July out of Windsor, Nova Scotia, is called Gutter Fest. that's what they're doing next year.
They're going to take it on the road.
They're taking it on the road all the way and back, like all the way across the country. It's like a whole month.
Oh, no way.
I'm like, I can't commit to that many dates, but we'll do like 3 or 4 of the closer dates around here probably. So
that's really cool. That's exciting. Yeah. Probably scary for promoters too in some way.
Well, I know, Sheila, the promoter, owns a clothing company where she makes handmade like punk rock style female clothing.
Okay.
And she will be at Wrekfest selling her stuff this year.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. Make note of that. What's the band from Montreal? Do you have their name handy?
Yeah. Drowning in Blood. They just actually released, I think, a new EP.
Okay.
Not just a couple weeks ago.
Drowning in Blood. So that's cool. They wanted to come back. Do you how do you find the balance between local? I know you said you put it a post, but do you try to get out of town acts on purpose, or?
I did last year, and it's to showcase mostly the Maritimes and stuff. Mm-hmm. And I mean, this year, and I'm hoping that in the next couple of years, because I even told the guys in my band, if anything happens with the band and we break up, I mean, Wrekfest is not going to end. Mm-hmm. This is my baby now, and I'm balls to the wall with it every year, regardless.
Okay. So you got a long-term vision?
I do. So I'm hoping within the next couple of years to add some cool attractions to the festival. Okay. With it being, this is a little wishful thinking, but I would love to have a demolition derby during the festival.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Or deal with a demolition derby people, where they can do a whole weekend events of demolition derbies intertwined with the live music.
Okay.
I think would be cool.
That would be neat.
Then also bringing in bigger or more named bands in the future once we know we can afford to do so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it would turn into it would not just be solely about music. It would be more about that whole community atmosphere. It would turn into Wrekfest. That's got it.
It's okay. That's why I was Wrekfest. I was like, what goes with Wrekfest? Yeah. Demolition derbies.
You know what you could probably line up is a wrestling match. That would be cool.
I would love that. I'm a big wrestling fan, so that would be great for me.
Okay.
I would enjoy that. So if something like that, and maybe in the next couple of years, it can't be at the Sussex Lions Club anymore because it's too big. Mm-hmm. And we want to do these, and maybe there's 2 stages, and there's 40 bands instead of 20 bands.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to upgrade to the 8th Desires or something.
Exactly.
Yeah. The 2-stage thing would be cool because then there'd be no delay between bands, just back and forth.
Exactly. And that's what I thought. And where we played this festival in Windsor, it was an outdoor show.
Okay.
At a bowling alley. And I told her last year. So last year when it happened was the first year they had the big flood.
Okay.
The big rainstorms, and it was a rough time while we were there. A lot of the bands had to drop out because they couldn't get into town. We were there. Our whole band was there except for our singer.
Okay.
He came down Saturday morning. He got about 10 minutes away. Had to turn around and drive back to Moncton because there's no way to get into the city.
Oh, brutal. Yeah. What can you do? Yeah.
Exactly. So we ended up playing inside the bowling alley. And I told her, I was like, you should do double. Set up a small thing in the bowling alley and have your stage outside so that you can always have bands ready to go. Okay. There's always that 15, 20 minutes in between bands. Right now I have 15 minutes scheduled at our festival between bands for changeover times. Okay. So we're going to, we provide drums and guitar cabinets and stuff. You just need to bring your amp heads and your cymbals and stuff. Mm-hmm. So what I'm trying to get the drummers to do for the band, so we have a quicker, seamless changeover, is bring your cymbal stands as well. Mm-hmm. Set up all your cymbals on the stands. So after they're done, you just take your stands off, and then he puts his stands on.
Gotcha.
And it's no unscrewing and doing all this in between sets.
Yeah, because then you're adjusting the cymbal arms and stuff, and then the next guy's coming up and doing the exact same thing. And
exactly. So if you already have your stuff set like that, it's just off and on. Mm-hmm. We could probably do our changeovers in 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm. That might be something for any younger folks listening too, pointing out, is that the thing called the back line, where you might be used to sitting in your basement or your jam space rehearsing with your stuff, and then you come to your first show and realize, oh, what do you mean? I got to use someone else's stuff? But I would say it's a typical approach, quote unquote, for festivals and stuff. So it's a good thing to get used to.
Local band festivals, even bar shows and stuff, there's always usually one band that provides the the drums, because drums is the biggest thing. Amps isn't too bad of a thing, but a lot of people don't want to lug amps anymore. A lot of people are getting these Kempers and little foot pedal things where they just plug in. So if you have amps, then usually you decide, hey, I'll provide one, if you provide one, and then most bands nowadays have more than one guitar player, and then just change out your heads in between sets.
It's interesting you mentioned Kemper because, I guess a lot of younger folks, is that kind of where that's the direction they would be taking? They're not lugging around the heavy tube amps and
some of them are
full
some
stacks,
of them, yeah, exactly, like Kempers and Head Rush, those pedal boards, because they have everything built in. You just line out to the board to the front of house sound guy, and it's there. And it's so just a briefcase. Like one of my friends who plays in one of the bands in town, Echo 7, his name's Justin. That's what he has. So he just shows up with one guitar and a little briefcase. Instead of having a bunch of gear to lug, it's just that.
Wow. And
as we get older, we don't want to lug gear as much. Like bass player, my bass amp, I just have a little combo amp because I don't want to lug around a big honking thing anymore.
Okay. Yeah. The big 8x10. Yeah, it looks cool.
Yeah, it looks cool. It's badass on stage, but it's not the greatest practical thing.
Well, it makes me think of like being younger and learning, like you're looking at a huge act, like you pick any act you want, Metallica, Pantera, anyone, and you'd be like, oh, dummy cabs. What's a dummy cab? Like you just assume that they have like just an empty cabinet that weighs probably 5 pounds, but it looks...
Only one of those cabs has speakers in it, and everything else just for looks.
Yeah, you start to learn, like, is he the one with the microphone on it? That's the only real one there.
Yeah, exactly.
Probably, yeah. That's funny. So, I guess so if that's the case, you're using those pedal boards, you're relying on your monitor mix. As the guitar player, you're relying on your monitor mix to hear what's going on?
Yourself. Exactly, yeah.
So that would cut down on live sound issues, too, I would imagine, because you don't have that amp blasting out towards the microphones? Yeah,
it would. And then, though... if you don't have a good sound guy, then there's also issues because now you can't hear yourself. You're trying to catch his attention. Hey, turn me up so I can hear myself. Whereas with the amp, you can just hear yourself a little. It's already there.
Okay. Yeah. Because if the sound guy's kind of dropping the ball, you can just turn around and boost her up. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. That's interesting. So, and I noticed too on the Wrekfest poster you'd mentioned is it 10 or 12 years and younger they can free entry, they can get in there for free?
With their parent. Like if their parent buys a ticket, then they can come in for free.
Okay, cool. That's awesome. So any older folks who want to expose their kids to that world, that's a perfect opportunity.
Exactly. Yeah.
When is it starting? The second day, Saturday, that's going to start earlier than the Friday lineup?
Saturday starts at noon.
Starts at noon. Okay, cool.
Yeah. And everybody gets like a half-hour set, basically.
Okay.
Except for the guys at the end get a little bit more as the headliner type acts. And then, ends around, set to end around 12:30. Music has to be done by 1 a.m., so that'll be the cutoff.
That's the cutoff. Okay.
If we're running behind, and that's why we put ourselves as on last on Saturday, because if we have to cut from our set, then I don't feel so bad about having to cut our set a little short compared to someone else's. Yeah,
that's a nice move to do it instead of someone who's traveled to play the show having to get because that's a shitty feeling. That's cool. So starts at the first, and what Friday the first night of the show is going to start at what time?
Music starts at 7, so the doors will open at 6, and the doors will open at 11 on Saturday. And will the bands be selling merch, or will they be allowed to be selling merch? Oh, 100%. Yeah. And vendors, like I said, Sheila will be selling her stuff, and I'm still just waiting to hear back from a few other vendors who might be interested in coming and setting up to sell some stuff as well. Okay. Yeah, that'd be really cool. Have some other vendors. Other vendors there. Types of knickknacks or whatever. Yeah. Got. Yeah, very cool. All right. Well, so I'll of course share all that information, and I'll post links to where people can go to get tickets and all that stuff. Perfect. Maybe we'll shift over to talking about Wrekage a little bit here specifically. I was checking out. You have a demo out right now, right? Yeah, one song that was released, and we were in the studio recording another song. and we got like a rough mix back the other day, and there's a few things, guitar parts and stuff that we're not completely happy with the way we recorded.
Okay.
So we might just put that on the back burner for a little while and then go back to it. But on Sunday, August 25th, this Sunday, as we're speaking, I guess tomorrow as we're speaking, we're opening up for the band Green Jello.
Oh, no way. Cool.
Here in Moncton.
Yeah.
So the sound guy is going to record our set for us.
Okay.
And I think we're going to release those songs as like a live EP. Oh,
cool. Okay.
Just to get some more music out there right now.
Yeah.
Because like the studio stuff is a lot harder.
Yeah, it's kind of a different world.
It is, yeah. So we're going to just release this cool live EP thing and then release the rest. I
was going to ask, when you're in the studio, are you recording live off the floor, or do you kind of do it one instrument at a time?
The demo, we record ourselves. It was mostly done live off the floor.
Okay.
Or I wouldn't say live off the floor. It was done in single takes.
Single take. Okay.
Everything was just one. Each part was one single take.
But you stack the parts as you went.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Like we did it. We all played together to get the drum track.
Okay.
But through headphones with like amps not turned on. So it was just drum sound. And then the guitar player layered on top and stuff, and we just layered everything on top of the drums that we got from the live take.
Okay.
And then everybody just did their one tracks.
Okay. Cool. And did you like that process, or do you think you're going to move into a different direction?
I like that process. The studio stuff is like I said, it's way different. You do a scratch track, and then the drummer records his drums, and then the guitar player record his parts before I recorded my bass parts, which is usually opposite. But I'm not like a virtuoso bass player, so to me, I need to have the guitar there to help me along as well.
Okay.
With my time, not just the drums. But and it's just like separate days, having to go back to do more, and then go home, and then wait, and then go back and do more. It's taxing, I guess. Yeah. Whereas this, like the live thing, we were planning on doing a live EP, but from our jam room where we just recorded live off the floor and released those tracks. But we're doing this show, and the sound guy is the guy who's recording our song in the studio. So I was like, hey, do you want to record our tracks from this? And we'll release these as a live EP. Okay.
And yeah, because I mean, in the studio, you're under the microscope for sure too, right?
Exactly. And like, to me, the studio takes away from the realness of the music, because there's always like editing and lining things up to the click and the auto tuning on the voices where it's not perfect. And to me, it just takes away that raw realness, like it was back in the day. We're an old school type band where we like things done the old school way. Yeah. So we like off the floor kind of thing is I think where we're going to go from moving forward. Just play the song 20 times until we get the best take, and the best take's the one. I don't know if you've seen the Beatles Get Back on Disney Plus.
I saw that long documentary. I've seen some of it.
Yeah. Well, they did the same thing in the end when they were in the studio and on the rooftop. They just recorded the same songs over and over and over, and the best one's the one that ended up on the recording. I want to do that. I'm the same style type of way.
Yeah, I'm kind of fascinated between the decision making that's based on like audio quality. How does it sound? But then also, how does it feel? Exactly.
Like, I seen a video on YouTube recently where they were talking about Fool in the Rain by Led Zeppelin. And it was John Bonham's drum tracks where he plays it, the way he played it, but then they also took the track and quantized the drums or lined everything up. And it takes away all the swing feel. It just sounds like a robot.
Yeah.
So to me, those little imperfections and stuff sometimes is what makes the song what it is.
Yeah, I agree, because someone else could be listening to that original take of his and they'd be using words like, that's wrong, or he's playing that out of time, and you're like, is that even a real thing? Is that even a real thing? Like,
yeah, exactly. Like that's the way it's meant to be played.
Yeah.
So when you line everything up, it takes away that feel of the way he wanted it to be played.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that happens big time. I find with like drums, the quantizing thing, and the melodyning or like the auto tune on the vocals, even when it doesn't even need, like, it's like, is this necessary? And then yeah, it just really crushes some of the feeling.
Yeah, exactly. So with our first song we released, there's none of that.
Mm-hmm.
The live EP will have none of that, and anything that we record ourselves will not have any of that.
Okay, cool.
Because, I mean, for starters, I don't know how to do it.
That could be helpful.
And I don't want to know how to do it because I just want it to be real.
Yeah, that's helpful, because once you start to, I had a couple buddies who they were kind of anti-music theory just because of that. They didn't want to know. They didn't want to know what was technically right and wrong, because in their world, it's like whatever you hear, whatever feels good is what's right. You know. Yeah. That's cool. So, do you so you're going to record your live set? That must mean you have enough material for like a EP or full album right now, right?
An EP we have, and so not all the songs that we're playing are going to be put on the live EP.
Okay.
Like there's a new song that we just played for the first time live at that festival. To me, is not ready to be released to the public that way. Okay. Yeah. We're still working out some of the kinks, but it's live playable, but not album ready.
Do you find it's helpful doing that, kind of like the way a comedian will like workshop material live? Do you make changes to a new song based on like maybe not necessarily reaction, but just how it felt when you like presented it to people?
Not really, I guess. I mean, yes and no. Like the song was pretty much done. We just weren't 100% sure how we were going to finish the song. Okay. We played it and it's kind of like it worked out. Mm-hmm. But even like the parts that we're playing are not like technically 100% tight. Okay. But as the more we play it and the more we play it live, I mean, the better it's going to get every time. Okay. Yeah. So it's more of a rehearsal thing. Yeah. Say, hey, are we ready to play it in front of people? Let's try. Okay. And if it goes good, if we don't cough up throughout, sorry, excuse my language.
I can bleep. Yeah, don't worry about it.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so yeah, if we mess up halfway through the song and have to stop the song, which hope that never happens. Yeah. Then we know it's not ready to be played again for a while. We got to get it. Okay. But I mean, we made it through it. We extended the end of the song a little bit, but then we all kind of looked at each other and ended all together. So okay, yeah, that's very cool. Organic. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, we have 7 original songs. Okay, right now, and like a few more that are being worked on. Okay, being worked on. Very cool. Yeah. That's exciting. So you guys, it sounds like you guys got a lot coming down the pike. Yeah. Yeah. Very cool. Is there anything else you want to shout out? Did we skip over anything we should touch on? I don't think so. We were talking before the interview about your beard club and the Sussex beard oils. Maybe we could touch on that just because that's kind of fun. The club's called the Bearded Villains. It's the world's largest beard club. Okay, so it's not a secret club. Around. No, it runs through Instagram is how it all originated. And now there's like a Discord channel and all this other stuff. And it's just a place for men with beards to come together and prove stereotypes wrong, break down the walls. In fact, we do charity work and stuff like that, events here and there. We used to host a lot of beard competitions between Moncton and Fredericton. Okay. And we to give to various organizations, and every year the club does a world meet in a different spot where a bunch of guys come and meet up. Cool. I haven't gone to one in a while. I went to one in 2016 in Las Vegas. Neat. And there's about 150 guys at once, like hanging out on the strip, walking up and down, like everybody's having a good time. Yeah. And then they did their charity beard competition, and yeah, I mean, just that kind of thing.
What goes into a beard competition? Like, that's not something I have ever thought about for a single second.
Well, specific categories for different styles of beards. So, like, we'll do like a partial beard category, which would be like goatees.
Okay.
And like stuff like that. Full beard, which would be what I have. And then usually with a full beard, you'll go like between a certain length and a certain length twice. So like a big beard and a smaller beard. So like a guy with a beard that goes down to his belly button isn't competing against a guy with a beard that's as big as mine.
Okay.
So you have a big beard, smaller beards. Depending on like the severity, or not the severity, but how big the event is, then there's more categories. Like we've had a mustache category and a freestyle beard category.
Okay.
Which is my favorite. Okay. Where I take like hairspray and stuff and like do weird things with your beard. Like I've had it come out with big curls on the ends, and it was sprayed blue. Okay. For a prostate cancer event that we took part in, and it's just different stuff like that. And then you get prizes donated from different sponsors. Like that's where Matt from Sussex Beard Oil comes in. We've done some of these events and he's provided prizes and stuff to give, and he's come in as a judge as well. Okay. Wow. That's really interesting. So you could have like freestyling beer. So people must do some crazy stuff, eh? And there's like world championships, and like around here, it's not really a thing, but in the States, there's like, and around the world, there's large competitions. Okay. That are like pretty intense, and there's like categories like Whiskerina would be a category, and we've done that before, which is females. Really? Okay. So women make fake beards. Okay. Whatever. Yeah. And then they compete in this beard competition with fake beards, and some of them put like make beards out of roses and like weird, like whatever you can think of. Really. Okay. Wow. Yeah. That's a whole new world to me. It is. It's kind of fascinating. It's quite the thing. I mean, I'm sure there's stuff on it online. Yeah. The first time I ever heard about beard competitions was on Netflix. There was a show on Netflix at one point called Whisker Wars. Okay. And it was like, that's what it, and it just followed a couple people who competed in these competitions to go to the World Mustache and Beard Championships. Huh. Yeah. That's interesting. Do you have any quick tips for people that maybe don't maintain their beard properly, or like don't even think about it? Brush it, oil it. Okay. That's pretty much it. Yeah. Try to keep it clean. Do you do like is it like similar? Like, can you use shampoo? Like, if you're doing the shampoo and hair conditioner on your head, would you do the same thing on your beard, or do you? Yeah, but different products. Okay. Because like the hair stuff has like parabens and all these like chemicals and stuff in it. Oh, okay. Which you don't necessarily want on your skin, right? Okay. So you can buy like specific bars of soap for your beard, or like pump washes and stuff. I'm partial to bar soap for my beard. All right. So yeah, that's a pretty good tip, really, because I mean, I go from beard to no beard, just kind of once I feel like shaving it, it's gone. Yeah. But I will admit that when I have it, I'm not thinking about it. Like I don't take care of it in any way. So yeah. And a lot of people are like, oh, don't grow it because it gets itchy. Well, if you use oil, then it helps soften your beard. And what about split ends? Is that a beard thing? Oh yeah. Yeah. I've got time. Yeah. I got times. They when I get my hair cut, I get a little beard trim and they clean them up. Okay. So it's like similar to hair in that sense. Oh yeah. Huh. Yeah, I get a haircut, she trims my beard out, cleans my mustache. Okay. Makes me look good again. Yeah. That's cool. That's some bonus tips there for anyone listening, some bonus beard tips. For sure. Awesome. Okay, so Wrekfest is so hopefully so bigger and better things as every year that goes on. It sounds like you have bigger aspirations. So this year it's gone from 1 day to 2, so it's starting on September 6th as day 1. Yep. And then so it'll be 2-day fest running till about midnight-ish, 1 a.m. on the 7th. Yep. $60 for the day for the festival pass, is that right? For the weekend, yeah. Weekend passes, or if you can only make it one night, you can buy either, like you can buy a 1 day pass or a day 2 pass. Yeah, exactly. And if you buy the weekend pass, you save $10.
Oh, you saved $10. Okay.
It's like $25 for Friday night, $45 for Saturday, or $60 for the weekend.
Okay. And if anyone's interested in checking out the full lineup, is the Facebook page, the event page, probably the best place to send them?
Yeah, there's a post on there that has the lineup on.
Okay. And if anyone wants to get on the next year's show, not to jump too far ahead, but they should be harassing you specifically?
Yeah. Okay. Harass me. You can find us Instagram, Facebook, Wrekage Official. There's no scene Wrekage. It's spelled differently because we're different. Okay. And or you can reach out to me personally, Josh Douthwright, on Facebook or Instagram as well. Okay. And you can reach out now, because if I have you now, then I'll put your name on the list now. Then you have a better chance for next year, because it tends to fill up quick.
Okay.
And depending on what we have planned for next year, there might be less bands.
Okay.
Because we'll need time to do whatever in between, or maybe I'll book less bands and give everybody more time.
Gotcha. And we didn't really talk much about genre. I mean, the show normally focuses on like hard rock and metal and punk, but not always. So maybe, is there any sort of genre guidelines in terms of people wanting to play?
It's punk and metal.
Punk and metal?
Hard rock.
Hard rock.
That's what it is.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. I think other bands, I don't know if they would be the right fit. It's kind of a heavy, fast-paced kind of thing.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, I've been in those. Yep. I was in a tech metal band, and I remember we played like an ECMA show, and it was like we were sandwiched between a couple folk artists who were totally awesome, but it was just like one of those moments where you're like,
Exactly. That's why, like, with the lineup, when you asked how I figure out the lineup, I also take that into consideration.
Okay.
So some of the like lighter bands or whatever would play earlier, and the heavier stuff kind of comes towards the end.
Okay.
But I also wanted to I say that, but some of the bands like are heavier, are playing a little bit earlier, just so it's not all punk then all metal. Mm-hmm. It's kind of intertwined, I guess, a little bit too. Yeah,
so it's not too predictable or whatever. Like nice little blend.
Yeah.
Okay. Very cool. So yeah, that sounds awesome. That's like I said, September 6th and September 7th of 2024 for anyone hearing this before those dates. And that's awesome. So and anyone wants to check out Wrekage's demo track, that's up on Spotify and YouTube Music and all.
Yeah, it's there, and Wrekage Official on YouTube. We have videos of live shows and stuff up there.
Okay, perfect. All right, thanks a lot, Josh. I appreciate you chatting, and I hope the fest goes well. If I'm in town, maybe I'll swing by and say hi.
Awesome, that'd be great.
And then we can do it again next year when Wrekfest 3 goes down.
Perfect. Thanks.
Awesome. Yeah, no problem. Thanks a lot, man.
Yeah, have a good one.
See you later.